Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mickey C and welcome to another video. And in this video I'm bringing you the best champion in each role to get you out of bronze and silver if you suck mechanically. So basically these are champions that are pretty easy to play but also have a high win rate in the current patch. Some of these champions may be pretty boring to play, but if you're not the best mechanically and you want to gain elo, I highly recommend picking up these champions. So starting out in the top lane we have the Rock, Malphite. Now he's really similar to Maokai in a lot of ways. He's an AP tank top laner, but in my opinion his abilities are much more simpler. He's got a point and click Q. His W and E are both not skill shots, and his E provides really nice wave clear, especially if you've got that Sunfire cape as well. So he doesn't have too much problem pushing waves once you get that Sunfire cape. The most important thing about Malphite is his ultimate. In team fights you just want to make sure that you hit as many enemy champions with his ultimate, and you can pretty much win team fights if you get a good Malphite ultimate off. Moving on to the items for Malphite, I'll put them on screen now, but essentially you want to get a Sunfire cape into an Iceborne gauntlet and a Spirit Visage. Those are your three core items, and then for boots you either want to get Mercury treads or Ninja tabbies depending on the enemy team you're up against. And your keystone mastery should always be Grasp of the Undying. With Malphite's abilities, you want to max E pretty much in all cases. For some reason on champion.gg it says maxing Q is the most frequent max, but I highly recommend maxing E instead. Maybe in some matchups, or some ranged matchups should I say, you can take a few more points in Q early on just for some ranged harass. But in most cases you should be maxing E first, followed by Q and then W, and obviously you max your ultimate whenever you can. Moving on to the jungle. Now the champion I recommend in the jungle is Volibear, and according to champion.gg he has a 56% win rate in the jungle, which is one of the highest in the game right now for patch 6.9. His abilities are pretty simple. His Q provides a gap closer, his W is a bite after 3 auto attacks I think it is. He can bite someone, which does tons of damage. His E provides a little bit of CC with a fear and a slow, and then his ultimate, well, you pretty much just push it and you become guard mode. And then on top of all of that, he has a passive that heals him whenever he gets to low health. He is also considered to be one of the best early game champions in the game. With his passive, I'm pretty certain early on no one can 1v1 Volibear at all. As for items on Volibear, you want to build mostly tank, so items such as Cinderhulk, Dead Man's Plate and Spirit Visage are all really good on him. As for boots, you want to either get Swifty boots or Mercury treads. Swifty boots are really good on Volibear because Volibear's biggest problem is getting onto the enemy champion. As for masteries, you want to put emphasis on Strength of the Ages in all matchups. Finally, on screen I'll just show you a recommended skill path order. Now moving on to the mid lane, I have Annie. Now Annie has always been one of the strongest mid laners in solo queue. Currently, according to champion.gg, she has a 54% win rate, which is up about 2% from last patch. So she's really strong right now. She did get a little bit of a rework, but it didn't change her kit all that much. She's still pretty much the same champion. Her Q is a point and click ability, her W provides some AoE damage, her E is a molten shield which gives her some defenses, and then her ultimate summons the mighty Tibbers, and I'm sure we've all been on the receiving end of Tibbers who just one-shots us. And finally, her passive provides a stun every 4 abilities, so the most difficult thing on Annie is managing her stun counter. Essentially, you want to have 3 or 4 stacks of her stun ready before you go into a trade. As for items right now on Annie, most items that provide AP are really strong, but I would recommend going Rod of Ages into Luden's, Deathcap, Voidstaff, and then maybe Zhonya's. And for boots, Sorcerer's Shoes are probably the best option. As for masteries, you want emphasis on Thunderlord's Decree in pretty much all cases. Abilities, you want to max Q, then W, then E, and ultimate whenever you can in every single matchup in my opinion. Moving on to AD carry, I would select Sivir. Now AD carry is probably the position that requires the most mechanics. However, you can get away with Sivir in my opinion because you can hard push the wave into the enemy tower and win the lane that way. You just got to make sure you ward up so you can avoid any ganks from the jungler or mid laner. Sivir's Q and W allow you to clear waves really quick and really easy. Sivir's E is a spell shield, which is one of the very few defensive abilities for an AD carry, and her ultimate is one of the best utility ultimates in the game. As for items on Sivir, your core item should be Essence Reaver into either Static Shift or PD, and then your third item should be an IE in the majority of cases. As for boots, it's probably best to stick with Berserker's Greaves. Keystone Masteries, you should have emphasis on Fever of Battle. You could go Warlords if you want a better early game, but I recommend Fever of Battle in the majority of cases. Now moving on to the abilities, you want to max Q first, then W, and then E and R or your ultimate whenever you can. Now finally the support, and the support I recommend is Blitzcrank. Personally I don't play Blitzcrank all that often, but he always has a pretty good win rate for support, and currently he has a 53% win rate, which is really high. So I really recommend playing Blitzcrank. His abilities are pretty simple and you just got to make sure you hit those hooks. His ultimate is also on a very low cooldown and provides a silence. You just got to make sure early on you don't spam all your abilities at once, because he does have some mana issues early on in the laning phase as a support. As for items that I recommend, obviously you want the standard support items such as Sightstone, Face of the Mountain, so you want to start a Relic Shield pretty much in all cases with Blitzcrank. Don't get a coin, get a Relic Shield. A Sightstone, either Moby Boots or Swifty Boots, something along those lines. You could even get Lucidity Boots if you want to for the cooldown reduction. The rest of the items are pretty much matchup dependent, so you may have to do a little bit of research on that, but I'll just list up the most frequent and highest win rate items right now on the screen for you. Masteries, you want emphasis on the Thunderlord's Decree, or that seems to be the most popular and the best one right now, so Thunderlord's Decree for Blitzcrank. As for abilities, you want to max Q, W, and then E, and then your ultimate whenever you can. So that's my opinion on the best champion in each role to get you out of bronze or silver if you suck mechanically. Let me know in the comment section below whether you agree or disagree, and if you do disagree, which champions would you suggest instead. If you like these videos, leave a like and don't forget to subscribe. I'm out.